Zach, this is a review of your practice channel lesson from September 4th of 2020. And we're going to start right off with the scale and then the G grace note scale and the GDE triplets. And just a reminder, I look at those first two scales, regular scale, G grace note scale, and the GDE triplets as sort of, it's a baseline. You're actually doing very well with these. They do need to be practiced daily, but I don't want you to feel like you have to spend a lot of time on them, more just the quality of time spent on them. So the first thing is the regular scale from low G all the way up to high A, back down to low G again. And I want you to do this in a measured way, so controlled manner. So we're going to set the metronome at 62 beats per minute. This is on a 2/4 march setting, but 62 beats per minute. And I'll say ready, 1, 2, and then on the next beat we'll start the low G. Okay, let's play it together. Ready? 1, 2. Now, one of the things that we talked about during the lesson was paying attention to your left hand's pinky finger, the one that's right next to the E up here. And you'll actually notice that I don't practice what I preach. I actually play the pinky finger down low until I'm up high. However, I think we talked about that there might not be enough space for you to do this up and down motion. So for now, what you're going to be doing is keeping that pinky finger up. So go ahead and practice that scale a couple of times. And let's move on to the G grace note scale. First, we're going to do it without a metronome, and then we'll do it with the metronome at 55 beats per minute, significantly slower than we did the regular scale. One of the things you want to make sure in this is that you are ensuring that you are playing your G grace note scale on the destination note. So, for example, if I'm going from B up to C, right, I know that I need to have the sound the B, and then I'm going to lift up the G grace note finger and the C finger, get the C in the right position, ready to go, and then drop the G finger. We don't want any unintended grace notes. So here's how it should sound. Sometimes what happens is we go to the destination note first and then do the G grace note. We don't want that. That would sound like this. So we want to not do that. We want to have a nice clean transition. Okay, we're going to play this nice and slowly from low G all the way up to high A and back down. Our limiting movement will probably be the transition from D to E and then back down from E to D. So whatever speed at which you can play that cleanly and accurately would be the speed you want to play this scale. So ready? 1, 2. Okay, next we're going to do it with the metronome. This metronome is set at 55 beats per minute in the 2/4 march setting. It's going to be a little quicker than we just did. Ready? 1, 2. So once you're done with that, we want to get into the GDE triplet exercise. And what I asked you to do during the lesson was I set the metronome at the 3/4 march tune style, and we set the metronome at 60 beats per minute, so that every click you hear is a triplet. This is really going to force you to play these GDEs nice and measured and controlled. So here's how this sounds. Ready? 1, 2. So that's pretty slow. You want to be able to control that before you move up in tempo. The next thing we looked at was the D throw scale, or throw on D scale. It's on page 75 of the Green Tutor book, throw on D scale. All right. And on this, you just want to make sure that you get a nice clean D throw. And we'll just go ahead and do this on my count. 1, 2. Now, the way I played those D throws, they're quite fast internally, the internal structure of the D throw. Remember, what you're doing on that is like that. So if you need to slow down the speed on the YouTube recording, that's just fine. The last thing that we worked on, and we didn't really work on it a lot, but it was just an intro, was the first 2 exercises from the Rhythmic Fingerwork book. Here, and the first one is on page 10, and it looks like this. And what we talked about doing for now was to just stop it at the end of the second bar in the second line. Okay, so here's how this goes. If you get to this, that's great. It's a good practice at transitioning from one note to the other. So it's 1, 2. And you want to watch out for that pinky finger on the right hand when you go to the upper hand, that you do bring it off the chanter. The other thing we looked at was the exercise at the top of, exercise number 2 from Rhythmic Fingerwork as well. And the whole point of doing these, in addition to getting dexterity, is to learn how to read the music. And so what we're going to do right now is we'll go ahead and do the very end of the top line. We'll just do the first line here, just the top line. Okay, and this is focusing on transitions from low hand to the high hand notes. Okay, so ready? 1, 2. I'm stopping there because that's the end of the first line. And I think that ends what we discussed. I would say the main focus that you really want to work on this week is making sure that everything is accurate. Speed is not important right now. Happy chantering!